If you've followed my channel for a while now, you've probably seen a video or two where I use a floating blind like this to photograph ducks and other waterfowl. This is a brand new blind that I just built, along with a new cover that I sewed to fit it. I've also got some new gear that I'm trying out for the first time this morning to help keep me warm as I photograph the beautiful ducks out here. Follow along this week as I review this new blind, some of the changes that I've made to it, as well as changes that I made to the cover. I'll also talk about this gear that I'm trying out for the first time and let you know what I think about it. Good morning. Such a beautiful morning out here. The sun's just coming up now. It's still pretty overcast. It was supposed to be sunny this morning, but it's still a little overcast. But the clouds look like they're thinning out a bit. So I'm just going to photograph what I can. There's a lot of mallards out this morning. So I'm just going to see what I can get in this new photo blind with my new gear that I've got, and I'll talk a little bit about that throughout the video today and let you guys know how it goes. You know, it's been really nice spending time with these mallards this morning. Over the last couple years, I've photographed a lot of different species of ducks, but I haven't really focused on mallards a whole lot. You know, mallards, they're such beautiful, beautiful birds, but I think we just forget how pretty they are because they're so common. At least in my area, not a lot of people go out to photograph mallards, and I think it's just because they're such a common bird. A common duck in my area. So it's just been so much fun to focus on these guys this morning and get some fun video footage and pictures of them. Just such beautiful, beautiful birds. I've got a couple of golden eyes coming in, golden-eyed ducks. I haven't seen really any out here this year, so this is awesome that they're coming in. I've got a male and 2 females, it looks like. Let's see what we can get. One of the things that I did differently with this blind versus my previous blind, versus the previous cover, this cover that I sewed, is these windows. I used a different material on these windows, and it's made it a lot easier for me to look through and see the ducks this morning. On my previous blind cover, the windows, I used a camouflage, like printed burlap, and it was just really thick material, and it was really hard to see through. And I actually had to cut these little slits in it and just kind of like pull them apart sometimes to peek through at the ducks to see what was coming in and whatnot. And yeah, it just made it really hard to look through. But this time around, I used a really thin, like camouflage mesh, and it has been so nice. This morning, I've been able to see all the ducks coming in just really easily, and they haven't really been able to notice me in here from what I've observed. They've come right up to the blind. They were just right outside feeding, and they didn't even know I was in here. So this thinner mesh really seems to be working. It's been really nice to actually be able to see without, making a big ruckus in here trying to peek through that burlap. It's been awesome. Well, I think I'm going to call it a morning. I've been in here for about 3.5 hours now, and the ducks have moved off. I just had those mallards this morning, a bunch of mallards, and they're just so pretty, so much fun to photograph. And then I had those 3 golden eyes come through, but they just rolled right through. They were just swimming up the river, so I got a little bit of footage of them as they passed by. But other than that, it's really just been the mallards this morning, but it has been fantastic. They're such beautiful birds. I love that iridescent green that you get on their heads. It's just so pretty. I've had so much fun. And this blind and this gear that I'm using has been absolutely fantastic. It has been so much easier to use this blind this morning, and I've stayed a lot warmer. It's actually, I'm quite warm right now. I was able to take my hat off because I am quite warm. This gear has been fantastic. So let's hop out of the blind, and I'll tell you a little bit about this gear that I'm using and about some of the other changes that I made to my blind to make it easier to use. I take that back, the golden eyes back. I'm going to see if I can get some pictures of it. What an amazing morning I just had out here with these beautiful ducks. I was able to photograph that other golden eye, the male, as he came in just some beautiful light. So much fun to be able to spend some time with him. All in all, I've been in the river for just over 4 hours now this morning, and I've been incredibly warm, almost too warm. And this blind has been so easy to use. So let me go over some of this gear that I'm using, how I was able to stay so warm this morning, and then I'll go over some of the modifications that I made on this blind versus the previous blinds that I've used. So first of all, just to preface this portion, I am in no way sponsored or paid by Frog Togs to promote their gear. This is just a brand that I've used for a lot of years now, and they reached out to me, sent me this gear, and didn't ask me to do any reviews on it or anything. It's just such fantastic gear that I thought I would give them a shout out in this video, because I absolutely love their gear, and it helps me to, you know, photograph the birds out here and stay warm as I do it. So in previous videos, I've got another pair of waders that I usually use. They sent me these waders here and this coat as well. Now, both of these items are insulated, which helped me stay a lot warmer this morning. Usually when I come out here in the winter in these in the river here or another body of water, I'm usually out for about 4 or 5 hours, and by the end of those trips I'm usually just cold, chilled to my core. But this morning, again, I'm almost too warm here. Granted, I do have a lot of layers on. I probably look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. But like I mentioned, these waders here, they are insulated, and so I've kept quite warm all the way through. And then this coat here is insulated as well, and it's a camo coat, which is really nice. And it's insulated also, and it's just kept my core incredibly warm. So warm, in fact, that again I took my hat off because it was getting quite warm in that blind with this gear. So if you're looking for a good pair of waders, I highly recommend Frog Togs. Again, I've used them for years, and I'm just always impressed by their gear. So I'll put links to these items in the description below. I've also got my other waders that I use on my gear page on my website. I'll put the link to that in the description below as well. Just fantastic gear, a brand that I highly, highly recommend. Now, this blind, if you've seen my previous blind before, the first difference that you probably noticed was the size of it. This blind is a lot smaller than the previous blind that I've been using for a while now. I cut about 1.5 feet off the length. The width is the same, but yeah, the length, there's about 1.5 feet gone from it. And I also made it a lot easier to get in and out of. My previous blind was kind of like a donut shape, so I felt like I had to do some sort of yoga move just to get into the blind, and I'd get it all wet and muddy sometimes getting in and out. Whereas this blind, it's more of a horseshoe shape, which makes it a lot easier to get in and out of. Let me just show you how easy that is. So it just slides in and out, just right around me. It's so easy to get in and out of. Let me haul it up on land here, and I'll show you a few of the other things that I changed about this blind and cover that is different from my previous blind. So aside from the overall just shape and size of this, weight savings, all that, on the cover I also included these adjustable clips when clipping it onto the base. On my previous blind, I just had this like really awkward elastic and bolt hookup thing. It was just really weird, and it was a pain to hook it up if it was already in the water, because you had to lift the blind and kind of loop it under. Whereas now I've got this clip on the cover and then another attached to the base, and I can just clip them together. So it's really, really simple to set up and take down. I've got my ghillie net over the top, and I've got multiple attachment points with these clips. Let me just undo them, take the cover off, show you the base here. So here's the base. Again, you can see it's kind of like a short horseshoe shape. I've got my camera mount here with the tripod head, and the similar pole setup as I had on my previous blind, but again, just a lot smaller, so I did bend the poles up here to make it fit a little bit better. Overall, this blind was amazing to use. Where it is a little bit shorter and it doesn't have that entire back piece like my previous blind. It can't hold as much weight, so you don't want to load a ton of stuff in here. So much fun to use this morning. I'm excited to get out with it again here soon. I thank you guys for following along this week. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding the blinds, anything like that. I love this type of photography and I love talking about it. So let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for following along though. I hope you guys are having a great beginning of this new year that we're in right now. I've certainly been having a wonderful time photographing a lot of different animals. So let me know what you guys have been up to. I would love to hear about it. Thanks again. Have a great week and we'll see you next time.